Let's take a look at what he had to say to the people on his house arrest.
Today, this house arrest, they have put me under this detention. We don't accept this. All of this is illegal. These courts are illegal, unconstitutional, immoral. Their decisions are unconstitutional, and the work that has been done to observe them is unconstitutional and illegal.
And now to his sentence to the Geo television. This is a prelude to a revolution. Amjad Malik, is this a prelude to a revolution?
Well, first of all, I personally think that I am not blaming Mr. Zardari. These are the fears which I narrated, which you asked me, that what were the fears for not restoring Chief Justice. I personally think that, yes, the way forward is implementing the social contract signed between Benazir Bhutto and Nawaz Sharif, and that's where things are heading. Because Mr. Zardari acted only as the president of his party, not the president of the nation, so he made the same mistake which General Musharraf made on the eve of 9th of March. You are asking a prelude to revolution. I would only say that due to the maladvice of the advisors of Zardari, they have just woken up a slept genie. They have invited Mr. Sharif to come on the street, show his strength, and challenge the morality of this government. I think credit goes to Prime Minister Gilani and Army Chief that they realized in the end that if they allowed Mr. Sharif to continue without coming to a decision which is acceptable to the nation, then the whole purpose will fail. The political process will be derailed. And other powers who were international powers, they were worried because their stakes were very high, especially in Afghanistan and in the bordering areas of Pakistan, and especially when American forces are there in Afghanistan. So they were worried that it will affect the war on terror. And I agree on the point, Jeff, that Barack Obama's administration is already reviewing the policy of having a dialogue and try to preach common sense to Taliban's, especially 70% of Taliban, which United States administration thinks are working only for money. And 25% they say have no aim, and only 5% are the hardliners. So they have bigger aims in the region. They are roundly investing around $7.5 billion in next 5 years. So they wanted to have some sort of harmony and reconciliation, which they brokered earlier. So they wanted them both to work and implement on a social contract which they signed, both parties signed. And that was the original intention of all power brokers, that when liberal and conservative forces go in back on the name of democracy, they will work together and follow the rule of the game which they themselves agreed, sitting outside in London. But when the time came, Mr. Zardari couldn't fulfill the promises he made, signed agreement 3 times, and he backed out. I will still think that whole nation needs to be applauded, including the government, that yesterday common sense prevailed, and in the end they agreed to restore not only Chief Justice, but also respected the mandate of the people of Pakistan Muslim League. And I think the way forward would be to live and let live, and that is the only principle which will revive the original reconciliation process. Coming back to the original point, we can't leave the past behind. I mean, Benazir Bhutto was assassinated on 27th of December. His own party is going to United Nations to adjudicate what happened, what actually happened. So we can't really leave things behind and move forward. We'll have to know why prime ministers went to gallows, why they are assassinated, why they are chained. So these are the questions we need to really have answers, and the way forward would be to work jointly, leave the blame game, and implement the Charter of Democracy. But I think Muslim League Nawaz is apprehensible because a lack of implementation for last 12 months.
All right, now an interesting twist coming from New York Times, a major claim, perhaps a huge